My brothers and sisters in Christ, in today's first reading, we start one of the most famous and most often confusing books in the Old Testament, and that is the book of Job. People are drawn to the book of Job because of its great mysteries, its colorful dialogue, and yet in so many ways it's misunderstood because of its depth of riches. The book of Job is not one that makes its point clear. And in fact, contained in and of itself, it lacks the answer to its own questions. Today we hear the first part of the story, if you will, the narrative setup of this dialogue between God and Satan, which may or may not be Satan as far as the devil that we think of, but the adversary, this angel that is the opponent in the case. And their questioning of Job and his great prosperity. Job, who is a foreigner, by the way. He's not a Jew. He's a God-fearing man, a man of great principle and virtue. But in a sense, he's a neutral party. He's the middle character in this story. And as God and Satan contend whether this man's virtue is truly rooted in goodness and in God, or it is simply because things are going so well for him. In a sense, will he endure if suffering comes? If the good things in his life are taken away, will he still be a godly man? This is the question that we'll frame as we hear over the upcoming days the events of the book of Job, the great sufferings that he will endure, and his exchanges with his friends as they try to make sense of that key question that always comes back to the heart of all people. Why is there evil? Why do good things happen to bad people? Why does God allow certain things to happen? Why does a loving God allow good people to suffer? These are all questions that people struggle with in their faith, and rightfully so. And the questions are ones that don't have simple answers. And in fact, the great challenge of the book of Job is that it doesn't ultimately answer that question by the end. And this is part of the brilliance. The book of Job is not a historical account. It's an allegory. It's a work of fiction, a poetic work of fictional characters in the Old Testament. But it asks key questions in the light of God and the light of faith. But the secret is that the answer is only supplied in the New Testament. That is, the answer to these questions only comes in the cross of Jesus Christ, as we hear in today's gospel. The question of evil, of suffering, of goodness, of unjust persecution. God answers these questions not through a statement, not through a teaching and word, but the suffering of his own Son. That God brings about salvation and good, even through the darkness, even through injustice, through evil. Not that God ever wills injustice or evil. They're contrary to his nature. But that as they have been unleashed in the world, God constantly works with everything to bring about the perfect good in accordance with his will, with his love. These questions about evil, about suffering, as I said, do not have simple answers. They're not to be answered in platitudes. Someone who is suffering greatly will never find comfort in a platitude. And yet, the answer to these questions is actually contained in the depths of the mystery of the cross itself. That is why in any time of great mystery and our suffering, we're invited to always return our gaze to the cross, to the image of our suffering Lord, to know that he is with us in all things and he is working for our good in all things. Hail the Holy Cross, our only hope.